Hey everybody, Still Prepper here. This is going to be my first of hopefully many videos, and today I'll be discussing homebrewed spirits. In the two buckets I have a sweet feed going, which I put 3 to 4 inches in each bucket and 5 pounds of sugar each. And in the two water jugs I'm doing just a sugar batch, which I use 10 pounds of sugar per container and enough water to make 5 gallons. Now when I do my sugar, I like to dissolve it in a pot on the stove, which isn't necessary, but it's something I like to do to make sure the sugar is completely dissolved. When you first start it, it'll be real milky, and as it starts to dissolve, it'll become more clear. And that's basically when I turn it off. I don't get it to a boil, just enough to make it all dissolve. After I do that, and everything's starting mixed up and cool down to the proper temperature, I'll add my yeast. And I let ferment for about 3 days, and then I start my boiling. So once I get all this done and when my 3-day waiting period is up, I'll get back to you and we can start boiling. Here we are again for the boiling process of our homemade spirits. As you see, I have a all glass setup, which I got from my local science store. Hope not too many people hate on it, because they're used to seeing your copper and crock pot setups, but I absolutely love the thing. If I was to change anything, I would get a bigger boiling flask and keep it glass. Love seeing on the inside to see what kind of action's going on in there. This is my second run of the sweet feed that I had fermenting earlier. I used a power yeast, which I'm not too fond of, but just kind of wanted to finish it off, whatever little bit I had left, because I switched to a 24-hour yeast, which I like a whole lot more, but you got to be careful with because it's more of a explosion than a ferment. That stuff acts fast, so don't put a lid on it, don't use an airlock, maybe just throw a little towel over it to keep anything from falling into it. I said it's a second run. It's a little dark because my first run I had it filled up a little too much and it ended up boiling up and over through the neck, but it's really no big deal because like I said, I do it a second run, sometimes 3 or 4 depending on what it is, usually with my clear. I like to store that at a higher proof and then cut it down to my desired proof whenever I'm ready to use it. Right now we're pumping out about 150 proof. That's a little fuzzy to see, but I got the flame turned down low, just enough to kick off the alcohol. Got me a nice little homemade heat shield. Definitely helps keep some of that heat in and directed towards the beaker. I have about 2,000 milliliters saved up right now, a little bit under. I kind of stored in the big one. I like my little one here, which I catch it in to constantly check the proof of it. At about 60 proof, I cut it off and keep that down for my tails. Obviously you want to discard your heads too. Those heads and tails I'll keep in the same container, which you can see in my little grapefruit juice container back there. I like keeping that for starting bonfires, works great. Gotta be careful though, because that flame could be clear. You won't see it, but it's there, and definitely don't want to catch yourself on fire or burn yourself. It can be a little dangerous. Keep thinking one day I want to throw it in the lawnmower, a little push mower, to see how it runs, but the lawnmower we have works great. Definitely don't want to ruin it just for a science project, because it definitely eats up the internal parts a lot more than gasoline does. But I love this setup. Works perfect for me. Wish it was a little bigger, but you know, for personal use, you really don't need it. It's about, I think that's a 5,000 milliliter boiling flask. If anything, like I said, I would just go with a bigger one, but for home use, you really don't need it. I hope you like it. If not, keep your comments to yourself. If you do like it, let me know what you think, or any concerns that you may have, or just like I said, any comments. Please let me know, and I hope you enjoy the video.